Thank you so much. I just want to start off by saying, Minister, thank you for being here today. Thank you for your extraordinary leadership and your hard work. It has been a lot. We're into the end of our 9th week of our lockdown, and I know that there's been such a tremendous amount of work from you, from the team, and I just want to say a heartfelt thanks. We know you're all working hard, and for me, I'm really glad that we have an upcoming 3-day weekend. I think we all deserve a little bit of a break. Anyways, my first question is about the large employer emergency financing facility that was announced earlier this week. There were a number of conditions that were attached to it, and specifically, you had included environmental and climate commitment condition. If you can just explain why you felt it was important to add those conditions, and specifically why you felt that it was important to add the environmental and climate condition.
Well, thank you for that question. We, I think, as you know, have been focused on how we can make sure that our impact on climate change as a country is one that we take seriously. I've been working on this issue with my colleagues. We had a committee that did some work on sustainable finance a little more than a year ago that gave some recommendations on how large businesses in particular could represent their climate impact in their financial disclosures and talk about how climate change could impact their businesses. We see this as an important thing for businesses to consider. Many firms have moved forward in this regard, which is quite encouraging, including firms in all different sectors of the economy. So we saw that as something important for us to recognize. We needed to be a condition for this program. We additionally know that our goals around the decarbonization of our environment in 2050 are important to Canadians. They're important to the world, and we think that we need to put that as an overall Canadian goal. So as we think about the large enterprise financing, which is protecting jobs and protecting businesses, we want to make sure those businesses and those jobs are sustainable, and that's how we got to the conclusion that this was going to be an important part of that consideration.
Okay.
Ms. Dzerowicz.
Thank you so much. My next question is about small businesses and the commercial rent assistance program that you have announced. I know that small businesses in my riding are waiting with eager anticipation for the application process to be open for that. I think they're both excited, and they have a bit of trepidation in terms of will their landlord sign on to it, and will they be able to qualify for it? What would be your message to small businesses around the commercial rental assistance program? Just maybe to put them at rest, and in terms of what's our purpose and how it is meant to be helpful.
Well, first of all, my message would be to landlords. I think this is a really important program that will be supportive of landlords, and I think they should take advantage of this. What we've seen for landlords is that many tenants cannot pay their rent. So if they have a commercial tenant that can't pay their rent, then they're much better off to get 75% of that rent, so 25% from the tenant and 50% guaranteed by the government, than to get potentially zero. So that is a huge advantage for landlords. For tenants, obviously, it's a huge advantage because they can decrease the rent payment because of the support from government. So that is my message. This is a program that is just being rolled out. Of course, there are always concerns with this. It won't work for every single situation. Rent is or the landlord commercial tenant relationship is a provincial jurisdiction. We are trying to help to make this work by stepping in through the mortgage system. We think that this can have a really big and important impact on small business in our country, and I would encourage landlords to be part of it. I would encourage commercial tenants and landlords to work together to get through this, and obviously it'll be helpful for all of us if we remain, having those stores along our streets that are making our lives so vibrant when we get through this COVID-19 situation.
Very quickly, Julie.
I think I have one quick question, Minister. we're learning a lot through this pandemic. You had mentioned that 7.5 million Canadians have applied for CERB. We also know that many people have lost their jobs. And we've also learned through these committee meetings that there's actually a lot of jobs available, whether it's in agriculture or healthcare or even in construction. And my question to you is, how might this information, so the fact that there are actually jobs available, although we know people are, and we know a lot of people are out of jobs, how might this information impact our thinking and our approach to supports moving forward?
Minister?
I think, Julie, you're pointing out an important question that we need to answer is how do we move into the next phase? So the Prime Minister has talked about extending the wage subsidy. We think that is a step, but we're going to need to think about how that system and our emergency response benefit and our employment insurance system work together, creating the right incentives for people to get back to work, creating the right support so that businesses will bring people back on. So we're working through that now, and I think we all know what the goal is. The goal is to get people back to work, to get people into those jobs that are available, and to create new jobs as we move forward. That's what we're working towards.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you both.